nice. Very nice. Front to back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent. I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTB podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast. Brought to you by our friends at Maxxis Tyres. From the original High Roller to the new High Roller 3, Maxxis are the go-to gravity tyre. And you might have even seen the blacked out Maxxis back on team bikes, sponsored by other brands at the first World Cup round last weekend if you look closely. It's good to see the good old days coming back. Also, thanks to the team at Fox Suspension. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've surely seen the new inverted prototype that broke cover at Sea Otter. I don't know about you, but man, there's just something about an inverted fork that looks awesome. So hopefully we'll see it make it to production. But for now, let's go on and chat to Aaron Peltarri. All right, joining me today, I'll be completely honest, a man that I've never met, but have followed from afar for a good 10 years or so now. Definitely been a pretty high-profile wrench on the World Cup scene, but he's just hung up the wrenches last year, and that's Aaron Peltarri. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, and how bad did I just get your surname?
You actually didn't do it too badly, eh? There's some shockers. We're the only ones in Australia, so yeah, as you could imagine, people don't hear it very often. So
Oh man, you're a rare breed.
yeah, a rare breed. So it's all good, man. All good. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's good. It's great to have you. I've been trying to get a few more of the neighbours from across the ditch on, and you've been a name that's I've got a list of names and notes on my phone. So you've been creeping up in that list of people I want to get on, and I was like, right, I'm going to reach out and see if you're keen. So it's good. I'm stoked to have you on.
No, it's good to talk about bikes again. That's for sure. So
yeah. How bad is the FOMO setting in? Obviously, we've got Poland happening this weekend. Pit bits are all coming out. Like, is it creeping up at the moment on you?
100% it is. I'd
Yeah.
be lying if I said it wasn't. I was like, since I retired, I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss it. And then I started seeing like, I got a few Snapchats from people that are like, oh, we're packing the race truck and this, and I'm just like, oh no, like this is not good. And then today a few bits popped out from like pit bits and stuff, and I'm just like frothing over the new bike tech and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I miss it. I don't miss getting on an airplane.
Yeah, I bet.
That's pretty much the dream. So, but yeah, FOMO for sure. Like, God, dude, I saw Obeya's new truck.
Yeah, that thing's legit.
I was just like, I just want to go in it.
Yeah.
Like, so badly. Like, I just love race trucks. So yeah, get very excited when I see that aspect of it as well.
Things have changed a lot since I was over there racing, and I'm like, I see these trucks now, and I'm like, man, this is a whole new world at this point. Like, they're just so sick.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, like when I started wrenching, what was that, 2015? It was, I think. We were in like an elite level team, professional level team.
Yeah.
It was in like two easy ups.
Yeah.
Like, and that was it. That was like number 1 and 2 plates, and you had 2 easy ups.
Yeah.
And you're like,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
rock and roll. Let's go racing. It's just like the trajectory of the sport in the past 10 years has just gone bananas. So
It's
pretty
elevated.
cool to see. Yeah.
Especially, I mean, as we've seen the last like 18 months, 2 years, the bike industry is not the best place, but man, racing is thriving. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think racing, like that's what gets people to buy bikes at the end of the day, isn't it? What is it? Like win on a Sunday, sell on a Monday. So
Yeah.
you kind of like, I don't know, it's entertainment as well, man. People always like being entertained. It's interesting, like you talk about the bike industry in a bit of a tank. It is for sure, but like when I'd always been told like, oh, you need to get a job that is reliable and this and that. Like if something bad happens in the world, people aren't going to spend money on bikes and whatnot. And then COVID came around, and all of a sudden you just sit back and go like, holy smokes, all people want to do is spend money on the things that make them happy.
Yep. It was like,
And that's what
we've got all
racing
this
does.
money.
Yeah. And that's what racing does for everyone, man. It just makes people stoked. So it's like that. Yeah, I think it's always going to draw a crowd. And they're killing it. Like I
Yeah.
say, it sucks not to be there, but hey, it is what it is.
So, I mean, I would have to think that most people listening to this would realize that you were Troy Bronsnan's mechanic for those 10 years that you were over there. But for anyone who doesn't, Aaron was Troy Bronsnan's mechanic for 10 years. um, I mean, you guys, you had a pretty awesome run. Like, there's some pretty sick races, some number one plates held, leaders' jerseys, and things like that. But um, before we go too far into that side, where did bikes start for you? Was downhill always your thing? Is that kind of where everything kicked off?
Yeah, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Like, I grew up south of Adelaide. There's a huge BMX scene. So I used to ride dirt jumps and skate parks with the boys every day after school, sort of thing. Um, Used to love BMX. We just, pedal around, go to McDonald's and
Yeah.
get a frozen Coke and go rip some trails, like a lot of kids here. And then my cousin Alex actually showed me what downhill was. I had no idea what downhill was, and he showed me. He's like, "Oh, I'm like starting to do this sport," and I was like, "That looks pretty cool." Like, I'd always been a massive fan of moto,
Yeah.
um, so I really liked like the full face and kit look, and I was like, "Oh, these guys are like moto guys, but you don't need a motorbike. Like, mum will probably be way more chill with that." So,
Oh, he's
yeah,
bicycling.
like, yeah, exactly. It's bicycling. It's all good.
Yeah.
Safe as. So yeah, so I kind of grew up doing that, and then he introduced me to mountain bikes, and then I got absolutely hooked. Then from then on, like, like they say, like the bats and balls got put away, and bikes were just like it in a bit for me. They still are to this day. So it, yeah, always just bikes, man. Bikes, bikes, bikes. I raced. That's actually how I met Troy, was racing when we were like, well, we would have been like 14 years old,
Oh,
like
right. So
racing
you guys
bikes.
actually like have quite a history.
Yeah, we've known each other for eons, and like,
Yeah.
so I grew up, racing with Troy, and then racing with Connor Fearon as well, who now I work with. So that's a fun story. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so just bikes have always been there.
So how far did you, or how deep into racing did you get yourself? Like, were you racing kind of national level stuff in Australia, or?
Yeah, I was racing state and national stuff, and then I did some stuff like everyone, Australians, Crankworks Whistler.
Yeah.
Um, but like, I landed on my head one too many times, and I kind of realized that I was probably not quite good enough. Um, and I don't know, like, I'm one of those dudes that's always tinkering on stuff, so I always enjoyed wrenching on bikes. Um, yeah, so I learned from an early age how to do most of the stuff on my bike myself, because we didn't have, like, we weren't poor, but we didn't have heaps of money. And mum and dad didn't really want to spend squillions of dollars on mountain bikes, which I totally get now that
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, man! Like, these things are expensive. Um,
Yeah.
Especially now that I don't work for a bike company. You kind of like, well, what do I
Yeah.
pay retail for this shit?
Yeah. It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I look at it and I'm like, whoa, dude, how, like, yeah, but hey, you love it, so you just do it, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
get it, because that was, much like myself. It's like I kind of grew up in a house where my old man was quite a handyman, and it's like I learnt to build wheels, and just taught my. It was like self-taught. If you messed it up, you kind of worked out where you went wrong, and you tried
yeah.
again.
But that's such a good life skill though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, you mess it up and you try again.
carry it on, and yeah, you get it right eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Worst case scenario, you don't.
But that that actually kind of just leads me straight through all my first questions. That was quite nice and organic. So then yeah, like you say, you met Troy, you guys known each other for a while, and where did that transition become where he asked you to come over and wrench for him?
Dude, honestly, to this day, I still don't really have a clue where that came from. I was working at a bike shop, right? Like everyone, like just wrenching away. Loved bikes, was just always just frothing on bikes, and I obviously like had a goal that that's where I wanted to get to, was wrenching World Cups and being at that level. You know, like I looked up to JC quite a bit, like Sam's
Yeah.
mechanic. Thought he was an absolute guru, and just like, you know, I was always on the internet just looking at different bikes and different things, and learning from people. And then I was just wrenching the bike shop one day. I just got a phone call from him, and I was like, hey man, what's up? Like, we didn't really talk apart from like at events.
Yeah.
And even then, like at an event, it'd be like, hey man, how's it going? And that was about as far as it went. So it was kind of weird. He was like, oh, what are you up to? And I was just like, I'm just, you know, hanging out. Like I'd actually tried to go to university to do a environmental science degree. That didn't last very long. I was like, well, this sucks. Like
That's not for me.
no, I'm way too like ADD. Like I just
Yeah.
can't. I'm trying to, as I get older, know how to calm down, but it's difficult. It's definitely a learned skill for me. So he was like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, just wrenching, just living." And he's like, "Hey, so my mechanic just quit. So I'm looking for a wrench for Lords for the first World Cup." And I was like, "Okay, cool." He's like, would you maybe be interested?" And in my head, I'm just like, you know how it is when something like that happens, you're just having like an explosion in your head.
Yeah, like
The
this is too
mental
good to be
part.
true.
Yeah, I was just like, am I dreaming? Like, this is insane. And then I played it cool though. I was like, oh yeah, man, I'll just have a think about it, and you know, I'll give you a call later. I hung up the phone, and I was just like, holy shit, like I guess I'm doing this. Called my now wife at the time, and I was just like, hey, so I've had this offer. And she's like, dude, you got to go, like do it. So I called him back straight away, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I didn't really believe it was all happening until I got a phone call from Gav at Specialized that night. He called me, and he's just like, hey, it's Gavin from Specialized. And I was just like, holy shit, this is actually legit. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is wild. Like, this is actually happening.
And fast.
He called me, and it was like, dude, rapid. Like, I was a wrench in a bike shop, and then I think it was a week and a half or 2 weeks later, I was in Lords.
Holy shit, that is a quick turnaround.
Yeah, dude. And I in my hotel room, and you had a knock on the door, and like Aaron Gwynn walks in. He's like, hey man, how's it going? And I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, he's like the man. Like,
Yeah.
this is insane. I guess I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into until I was there. And then, the rest is history. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, no
Yeah.
idea. I could build wheels and put bikes together, like, well. But I didn't but I guess at that point, like in 2015, you kind of just like stuck suspension on, and it was all good. Like, there
Not quite
wasn't.
to the level they're going these days.
Nah. And I think that helped me in a lot of ways, because you kind of didn't need to know what you were doing. You kind of could just show up like a basic shop wrench and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, sick, I'm good to go.
You know you're
Um,
righty tighty and lefty loosey, and
yeah, exactly. As long as you don't strip any bolts or
Yeah.
mess it up too bad, you're probably pretty safe. So, I kind of just cracked into it, and then got offered a full-time job after Lords, and then
so
it
that
all
was just
rapidly.
like a trial run. Come do the first World Cup and get your feet wet,
Yeah, I
kind of
think
thing.
so. I don't really know if it was a trial run or if I'd already got the job, but I thought, like, I already quit the job.
Yeah.
I already quit the
You're in.
workshop. I was like, ciao guys, I'm out of here. See you later.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. I was going to make it work no matter what. So if Specialized didn't offer me a job, I was going to just walk around everywhere else and try get a job, basically.
Yeah.
So, but Specialized gave me a job, gave me an opportunity that I will be forever indebted to those guys for giving me that opportunity. They took like what was I, 21, I think at the time. 21-year-old Australian kid who'd never been to Europe, dude.
that's
Like,
that's
I,
about as green as you can get.
full greenhorn. Just walked
Yeah.
in, just like, yeah, I'm going to be all G here. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, none of these dudes speak English. Like, I'm in France. Holy smokes, this is wild. So yeah, kind of just got in with that, and then then we just started doing really well at
Yeah.
races,
He
and I
was.
was just like,
I mean, Troy's been like the most consistent guy for forever. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah, you got the most solid dude.
yeah, and I guess like I just didn't mess it up, so which was kind of cool. Like that's my MO, man. Like as long as you don't mess it up, you're all right. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, like you know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, yeah, we kind of just went from there, and then things just blossomed, I guess you could say.
So that was
And grew
still
into
the like in-house specialized team, wasn't it? Like the American-based team at that point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were S Factory Racing, and then 2016 rolled around, and then AG split with us. So he went to where'd he go? Was it YT? Yeah, YT.
He went to YT.
After
That was the
yeah,
big dramatic move to
yeah. So
YT.
that was the big move, right? So he went to YT, and then we still had a year contract left. And it was an odd one because they were like, because they'd signed S Gravity at that point. So like
Right.
Loic's team.
Yeah.
Um, so they'd signed S Gravity for 2016 onwards, and then they still had us. And it was like, kind of like it was. You could definitely tell they were like, well, what are we going to do with these two, like
Yeah.
Australians,
Yeah.
man? What,
Yeah.
what are we going to do? So gave us the option. They were like, you can go on S Gravity with those dudes, or we can give you a van and a tent, and off you go. And we chose the van and tent. And we just
That's like
kind
the
of
most. That's the most like Australian New Zealand thing to do ever. Just be like,
yeah,
ah,
dude.
sweet, just give us the low key option and we'll
Yeah.
go get it done.
Yeah. So we cracked into it, and it was like Troy, myself, we had a team manager and a physio at some races, not all. But yeah, second year in, 22 years old, and I was kind of just rolling with it. So yeah, I had dudes like I had people in the background, obviously working super hard as well, like people booking hotels and accommodation and flights and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't have
So
to
you
deal with
weren't
any of that.
fully running
No,
solo, but
I was chilling, man. I was like, honestly, like I'd go work World Cup weekends, and then Troy and I'd drive to some bike park that they'd like basically paid for a hotel and food,
yeah,
and I'd just ride the bike park with Troy, man. Like I was living. It
that's
was
the
sick.
dream.
Yeah, and
That
it
sounds
wasn't
awesome.
serious at that point. Like World Cup downhill wasn't what it is now at that point.
Yeah, it's still pretty low
Um,
key.
yeah, it was low key. Everyone was still kind of just like cracking in with it, like so long as you showed up on a race weekend with a bike that didn't fall apart, you were pretty far ahead of the curve. It wasn't until probably actually everything changed in like 2017 for a lot of people actually. Things started getting more serious. So I think they started maybe getting a little bit more money involved in
Mm,
contracts, and we started taking it quite a bit more seriously as well. I guess like I had at that point 2 years to kind of get to know like the ins and outs of everything, how suspension worked in depth. I'd always tinkered on it, but I'd never really known. But by that point, I kind of had an in-depth knowledge of what I was doing and what we could actually achieve. And then
yeah, and I guess when you're working with like, were you guys Rock Shocks or Fox at that point? With
we were Rock Shocks, so we've
yeah,
always been Rock Shocks, which
so
is
you're
a
working,
massive transition.
yeah, and you're working with those guys every weekend of the race, so you actually get that
Yeah,
full on knowledge base.
yeah, 100%. And like I got very heavily involved with the Rock Shock side of things as well, or the SRAM Rock Shock side of things, which was kind of cool. Like I mean, still to this day, I'm very good friends with them all, but particularly like Evan Warner. So he's like the black box race tech.
Yeah, I remember Evan.
Yeah. So we kind of became quite good friends and started working, quite well together. So he kind of ended up entrusting me with a lot of decisions on Troy's bike, with tuning and yeah, all that sort of thing. And then in 2017 as well, I ended up working with a couple of very clever individuals. So I ended up working with Dave Garland quite a bit on the
Oh
Stendeck
yeah,
data analytic side of
yeah,
things. And then I was also working alongside on the collective factory team with Nigel Reeve.
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
for
Nigel.
anyone who doesn't know who Nigel is, like, dude, he's a massive pain in my ass. I love him to bits, but he's an absolute genius.
Yeah,
Like very, very switched on suspension tech. So yeah, I kind of learned a lot from him, and then like Dave kind of took me under his wing a little bit. Like I went to his house a few times in Wales. Um, he helped me out, like learning sort of what I needed to do in different scenarios. So I guess like I up until that point, I kind of taught myself everything, like everything to do with the bike. I'd taught myself and kind of just like figured out what worked and what didn't work. Using my brain, I guess. If that's that sounds
yeah.
kind of dumb, but
Just your own feedback loop of like, well, this
yeah,
this worked and this
pretty
didn't, and
much.
yeah,
Yeah. And I guess at that point as well, I was lucky enough that like I was relatively fast at that point. And Troy and I ran a relatively similar setup. So I could kind of jump on a bike and go lap for a day and then be like, all right, this is going to work or this isn't going to work. Um, which is actually something that we had that a lot of other people don't have.
yeah. That's
Which,
pretty cool because I mean, I'm deep. Like I follow motocross, like
yeah,
super close, and like every factory team has someone doing that stuff. It's like
yeah,
they have someone who runs through a bunch of parts and they narrow it down to like, this is the setting within this window, or these are the parts to try. So it's like pretty cool
yeah,
for Troy to have someone that could do that sort of style thing.
yeah. And I was also quite entrusted, like I said before, with SRAM and RockShox. So they would send me Troy's parts, and then I would put them on my bike, ride them, and then be like, give them feedback, because it's not the fact that it's wasting his time, but it's difficult to find time to test everything.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess what I mean by that is like, yeah, you've got a fork and a shock, but you've also got a chassis, you've got tires, you've got wheels, you've got dumb things like bar roll, bar width, stem length. It all comes into one kind of. Well, I mean, it comes into one package, doesn't it? A bicycle at the end
Yeah.
of the day. So you can get hung up on one thing and then miss a whole bunch of other stuff that it will make you faster.
And if you're testing
So yeah, we
properly,
were definitely
you should
lucky
really
in that
be,
aspect for sure.
yeah. If you're testing properly, you should only really be working on one thing at a time and minimal changes. So it's like by the time you go through the whole bike, it's days.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess that's why we did team camps and stuff. But I could come to team camps with tunes and wheel characteristics and a chassis that I know that he would like, um, which was cool. And I
Yeah.
guess like if we needed to make mid-season changes, we could just kind of do it based off my feedback in a little bit of a way as well. Um, Not saying I'm anywhere near as fast as Troy, because I'm not, but and I never was. But yeah, I kind of knew what he liked, and we could get to a point pretty quickly. So yeah, which was definitely amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. How did so obviously 2016 and 2017 was the transition to Canyon. Um were you guys like, did you guys test the bikes, or did you kind of, was there a bit of that going on before it all? I mean, without getting anyone in trouble, but like
Yeah,
was there some
yeah.
testing that went
Uh,
down and
I don't think it's a secret. Like, yeah, there was for sure. There has to be.
mm,
Like,
yeah.
everyone does it, man. Like, and anyone can say whatever they want to do, whatever they want to say, but it's bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
you don't jump blind on a bike and be like, yeah, it's going to be sick if you've never ridden it.
Yeah.
So yes, there was. Whether I'm allowed to say that or not, I don't know.
Oh, you could just say that you tested it because we've just, we know how the
Exactly. I
process works
tested
now.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody else tested it. I tested it. So, 2016 into 17 was the move to Canyon. Pretty heavy duty move. Like they
Yeah,
hadn't had a team before.
and especially with you saying you went from just like you two out of a sprinter and like the Kenyan team
Yeah.
was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was massive. And I guess like you have all these meetings and stuff and you talk to people and you get promised the world and what you get generally isn't the world. And it wasn't to begin with, man. Like
Mm.
to begin with, we were working with the Canyon team. We had a crafter van and pretty much the same setup. Like a couple of easy ups for the first World Cup. We were supposed to show up with this massive semi and like roll in just like wear the cat's pajamas sort of thing.
Yeah.
We rolled in and it was like, oh, where's your truck? And we're like, oh, we haven't got one yet. We ended up getting one, and that first race that we had that truck, we actually won. So funnily enough,
so that was, I was actually going to ask you if you remember your first win together. That was a little bit later on that season.
yeah, I think, dude, we pretty much every race I worked at, we were on the podium. So it was a matter of time, right? I think the first win was in Andorra
Mhm.
on the canyon.
Yeah.
Andorra on the canyon. And I remember being up the top and I remember him crossing the line and being like, oh, that's pretty good. And then he won. And I remember being lifted in the air. Like it felt like 10 meters in the air, man. It wasn't because like John Hall picked me up in the air. So I don't know if anybody doesn't
Yeah.
know who John Hall is. He was Aaron Gwynn's mechanic, and we became quite good friends when we were working on Specialized together. And dude, it felt like I was like on the moon, man. I was like so fired up, and everyone was pumped for me as well, which was cool. There's definitely a camaraderie between the mechanics. Like you all want to win, obviously. That's what we're there for. But we all also respect on what everybody else is doing, and you see the effort that's put in. So yeah, that was cool. It was really cool, especially like looking back on it now. We fought some adversity in that year to make that win happen.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean,
was
it's
quite
always going to be
cool.
tough first year of anything, like whether you're moving to an established program or not. And like you guys were on a brand new program on a new bike, like starting from scratch. So to get a win in, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was cool, and like that was busy start to the year, man. Like because we were obviously on a bunch of new parts, and we were kind of giving a lot of feedback to people on how to make shit better. And then it was kind of like pretty rapidly turning around and coming into our hands. So I think by Andorra, we kind of had a grasp of where we were at, what we needed. And I guess, like I said before, like 2017 is where testing and stuff really kicked off. And that's kind of where it started, was the need for it. Like when we were on Specialized, you kind of got given a chassis and they were kind of like, that's what you've got,
Yeah.
just ride it, deal with it. I think they like the single-sided demo is a sick bike park bike, but Christ, it was a shit race bike.
Yeah. It's funny because
um,
when you said that, and I was thinking, like, sitting here thinking of Aaron, like, and all his struggles with it, and they were showing up with like extra carbon on it and like all the stuff to try and
yeah, man.
stiffen it up, and
Yeah. There was a lot of band-aids put on that bike to make it function. So, like for an everyday battler, like if you're riding it in the bike park, it's sick. Like
yeah,
it's a really fun bike, but it was really hard to go fast on. So it was kind of like, that's what you've got, deal with it. We've done all the band-aids we can do. And then when we moved to Canyon, it wasn't like oh, we'll give you anything you want, but we did have a little bit more free range, I guess. And we were able to kind of ask for what we wanted, and we were getting different links, and we were getting different layups, and we were getting basically whatever we wanted, I guess, at the end of
yeah,
the day. to make the bike what we wanted it to be. So yeah, it was
So
quite
it's
cool.
like
And that's
a
I love
real
that as
genuine
well.
like factory kind of level racing at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it only got better from there. Like we kind of, and I think it did for everyone though. Like you look around the pits and you're like, there's not a bike in the pits that's from a factory team that's like a stock bike, you know? So you start working a lot more with the engineers, which then you learn a lot. I was lucky to work with some like really, really clever engineers at both Specialized and Canyon. I was lucky to work with some amazing people that knew their way around a computer and knew their way around a bike. That's for sure. So they could anything you asked for, they could pretty much make it happen. So um, and then that was the same with the guys at SRAM RockShox as well. You know, like we ended up developing a bunch of stuff that ended up on people's bikes. I'd see friends writing stuff that I was like, I kind of had input in, and that's
Yeah, how
that's a
cool is
pretty
that?
special feeling. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty rad.
So,
So
um, yeah, that's would be pretty sick. You're like, man, I remember writing the prototype of that like 2 years ago or whatever. You're like, put feedback into that. That's super cool.
yeah, yeah, it's mental, absolutely mental. So yeah, that was definitely a part of my job that I now like look back on, and I'm like, that's pretty sick. Like, you go to a local downhill race, and there might not be that many of them, but there might be like 20 or 30 senders there,
Yeah.
and you're like, sick, man. Like, I had quite a bit to do with that Gen 2 sender, and then this
Mm.
Gen 3 sender I had quite a bit to do with as well. So you see them out and about, and yeah, it's cool. It gives you warm, fuzzy feelings.
Yeah, I bet. So what would a typical kind of World Cup race weekend look like for you? You know, like say showing up on a Tuesday or whatever from that point. Like
Yeah,
it's gotta be hectic.
it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. It changed a lot over the years. We kind of went from very chill in the early years to absolutely chaotic, especially when they decided to introduce semis on quali day. That was
Yeah, man.
super kind of them. Um, but yeah, so you'd show up, you'd build your pit space. So generally, I'll start from the beginning. We would fly into Nice, so where our truck was based was just outside of Nice in the
Yeah.
south of France. Um, Fly into Nice, pack the race truck, get the bikes prepped, all that sort of stuff, chuck it all in there. You'd start your travel day, so we'd either drive or fly, depending on where the venue was. You'd get there. Generally, you get there pretty late, so you just go to dinner with the team, bring a few glasses of red, and just talk shit for a bit, and then go to bed, and then crack into pit setup the day after. So yeah, pit setup's like a full day. You're basically building a workshop on wheels. So we had, depending on the year, there was either 3 or 4 mechanics, and then we'd have our team manager, another dude, a truck driver, a physio, and then last year we had chefs, and yeah, sometimes the athletes would chip in, and then other times you'd have other
Man.
people as well. So there was a lot of heads going around on that day, so it was pretty chaotic. And I guess like I was kind of like, it might sound a bit wanky, but like the leading hand on that sort of day as well. So you'd kind of have to navigate where everyone was doing, where everyone was going, what everyone was doing. And then people kind of figured out their jobs, I guess, and you just kind of crack on with it.
Get smoother.
Yeah, it all gets smoother as the year goes as well. So the first pit setup of the year is always pretty rusty.
I can
But
imagine.
you just get it done, So yeah, crack into it, and then you get the pit setup done. Pits ended up like going from, like I said earlier, 2 easy up tents to a massive semi race truck that had walls, partition walls, flooring, fridges, tables with tablecloths and silverware. Like it was full on, dude. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, then we'd just crack into bike work really. So most of the time your bike would be prepped relatively far through. You probably just like take your suspension to SRAM to get them to run through it, and then you just do wheel prep and tire prep. So yeah, at any time, like high level athletes generally have 4 or 5 sets of wheels going
Yeah,
plus.
that was the question I was going to ask.
Yeah. Wet races, you've got even more. You've got double that because you've got different spoke densities and different rim widths. Yeah.
So you guys are actually going to that level for wet races in terms of like different different builds of wheels.
Yeah, so you'd go from like a 32 hole to a 28 hole with a different spoke thickness.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that just looking for more compliance?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Compliance is your friend in the wet,
Yeah,
especially
big
if it's
time.
it's very wet. Compliance is your friend. So, and even on some dry World Cup tracks, compliance is your friend. So you kind of learn what you need as you go through the years. Um, yeah, so you've got wheel prep to do. You've got most of the time you'd have like at least a spare frame with a brake plumbed through it and a few parts on it. And then you'd have to have like all your spare shocks and spare forks and all of your spares prepped to go, which doesn't sound like much work, but it takes time because everything has to be perfect.
Mm.
Like you can't have a semi clapped out wheel set as a practice wheel set anymore because like I don't know. I obviously work for a very high profile athlete, so like he could tell if if his front wheel the tension was off, or if his rear wheel was slightly buckled, or there was a couple of spokes that the tension was off. He could tell. Um, you've probably like people have probably seen photos of his bikes with like silver spokes, black spokes, all that sort of stuff. He can feel the spokes rubbing against each other through vibrations and stuff.
Man.
Like it's these dudes are like they're
Yeah.
next level. Man. Like it's people are like, oh, it's just a bike. It's not.
No.
Like it's
It
not.
always
And you
makes me laugh when people say that. It's like that, oh, they could go fast on anything though. And you're like, no,
yeah, and
no.
you know what? At the end of the day, they could, but they'll be getting top tens,
Yeah.
not on the podium. And that's the difference. Like at the end of the day, you're fighting for hundredths of a second. You're not fighting for a minute. You know,
Mhm.
like yeah, I could probably throw Troy on a stock bike, and he'd probably rip still. Like he would
Oh
rip. You
yeah.
know,
No doubt.
there's natural talent there, and there's fitness and there's strength, and it's there's no doubt these dudes are talented, but it's like a factory moto rider, man. Like
Mm.
you put, I mean, like you just I don't know if you're a Supercross fan or if anybody
Yeah.
on here is a Supercross fan, but like Dean Wilson, you've got him getting like top tens on a HRC Honda, but if you had him on like what he was on last year, what was it,
Yeah.
Phoenix Honda or something?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was
Or
nowhere
quad
near
lock or whatever it was. And
there.
yeah.
Yeah, the quad lock Honda. He was nowhere near there. So it's
No.
like and I know there's obviously an off season of prep and this and that and everything else, but he wasn't even going to race this year. And you
Mm.
put him on a good bike, and it's like all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, there it is,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's what we're talking about. You're talking about the difference between 10th and first. You're not talking
Yeah.
about the difference between them qualifying and not.
And downhill races aren't won by 6, 7, 8 seconds like anymore. That stuff doesn't really happen, like it's 6,
Yeah,
7, 8 hundredths of a second most of the
yeah,
time now. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
if you lose 200 a second because of something so small, it's like, yeah, it can easily happen.
yeah. And that's why, you'd see the top sort of 5 or 6 mechanics. You'd walk around at night time at World Cups, like 10 p.m. sort of thing. And they're the only dudes still swinging off wrenches.
There's no
And
no
like,
guesswork on the Allen keys. It's
yeah,
everything's dialed.
there's reasons for it as well, right? Like every single one of Troy's bearings was like, didn't have seals on it, was race prepped. Even his practice wheels. Like you don't have seals, you don't have oil, you don't have grease, you don't have anything. They're just metal on metal,
Yeah.
basically. So they're good for like 2 or 3 laps. And then they're clapped.
Just
But that's
yeah.
what it takes, right? Like that's what we're fighting for. We were never fighting to come second. We always wanted to win every race weekend. And I know, like I'm obviously very good friends with Troy, so I know the amount of effort that he puts in at home. And I mean, the amount of effort we put in at home, dude. We were doing like off seasons, we're doing like 3 days of testing a week,
Man,
you know,
yeah, it's full on.
and like, yeah, it's full on. There was never an off switch. You're doing like 3 days of testing a week. You're flat out. And on days that I wasn't testing with him, I'm like building shocks or building other wheels to try or doing this or doing that. So you can't, people, I got the question a lot like, oh, what do you do in the off season? And you're like, man,
What off
like this is
season?
it's a full time job. Like it's a full time job. And any day that I had off, I'd spend with my wife. Like,
Yeah.
we'd actually get to hang out, which was
Make up for
cool.
the fact that you were away for 6 months of the year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, the sacrifices that had to happen
Yeah.
to be where we were. So yeah.
We went pretty deep off topic, but that's good because this is what this
Yeah,
podcast
sorry.
usually does. But
I had
no, it's good. We haven't gone back to talking about 26-inch downhill bikes or anything yet, so we're doing pretty good
yeah.
because that's
Oh, we'll
normally
get
where
there,
these go.
dude.
We can
We'll
get to
get
that
there.
later.
Yeah.
One of the questions I had. So, like race weekend, were you guys staying in the truck?
Yeah.
So you had like a proper setup then.
Yeah. I mean, proper depends what you call proper. You wouldn't want to be claustrophobic, eh? Or hate
Fair.
the people you were working with. Like, so yeah, that's right. We were talking about race weekends, weren't we? Holy shit! Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
Yeah. So as a mechanic, so you show up for pit setup day, and then you basically don't leave until you go up for qualifying. So
So you just
you would
in the
spend
pits.
days in the pits, like days and days in the pits, and you wouldn't leave. You go up the chairlift to go to qualifying. You go up, you do your thing, you come down, you go back to the pit, work on the bike, go to bed at the pit, wake up in the pit, and then go up for race. And so if you were doing like a back race weekend, you'd spend like 3 weeks in this truck.
Man.
I was fortunate enough that like most of the dudes that I got to work with were like legends. Like I still to this day, even if I haven't spoken to them in a while, like they're still some of my best friends and some of the best people I've ever met. Which was positive when you're like living in a shoebox with them.
Yeah, you're forced into close quarters together.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know that I pissed some of them off sometimes because I have that kind of personality. I'm pig-headed, and it is what it is. And they pissed me off as well sometimes. But at the end of the day, we were good friends, and yeah, that kind of was beneficial for sure. So yeah, but you do pit setup day, then you just fly on to practice after you've done all your bike prep. Practice was always chaotic, more chaotic when it's wet. Like you'd pretty much just be gouging your eyes out when it's wet because you're pretty much just like pushing shit uphill, like all day, just trying to maintain a level of professionalism whilst being like sopping wet because you've washed the bike,
Every run.
10 or 15 times, and you're cold and you're probably hungry and you just want to go and crawl in a ball and cry because they're just breaking wheels. And yeah, anyway, it is what it is. I've got a bit of PTSD there, obviously. So, but yeah, we'd crack into, and then we kind of fall into time training, and that's where you kind of started to see people's cards, like where they were at. There was always dudes that won practice and guys that didn't at all, but you could tell if they were on one. And then yeah, quali, then race, like that was always just chaos. I was always quite lucky because I did have a very fast bike rider who was very consistent. So most of the time I got to go up for race and quali pretty late. So I had plenty of time.
Yeah, true. That's a good point actually. You're not so confined to like turning around straight to get into the starter qualies or anything.
Yeah. And I guess that's, that's why like semi-finals kind of threw a spanner in the works for me, because like I was always this dude that like practice was over, I'd have a cup of tea, chill out. Like Troy and I'd play some MX vs ATV or some Call of Duty or something for a bit, and just hang out and shoot the shit for a while, and then I'd just get into work and it'd be sweet. But then semi-finals came in and I was like, what do you mean I got to work, man? Like, this is bullshit.
This is my quiet time.
So, yeah, this is my like relaxation time for the weekend. So yeah, the UCI and WB kind of just kindly took that away from me, which thanks for that. But it is what it is. So yeah, we ended up like having to rush basically. So you ended up getting to the point like between quali and race, sometimes you wouldn't even wash the bike. Not quali and race, quali and semi. Sorry, you wouldn't
It
even
was
wash the
that
bike.
tight.
You kind of just you just wipe it off, check that the wheels still spun, and off you went. So yeah, you kind of had to think about that a little bit more. Um, but yeah, like I say, like Troy was dynamite to work with, so he was kind of very understanding if I needed to take my time. He knew that everything was going to be perfect. I would never let the bike leave the pit if it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of had that understanding, which was cool.
Is Troy tough
And I
on
think,
bikes?
yeah, dude, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People are like, oh, he's so light and smooth. I'm like, yeah, he's light and smooth, but
That's
he's still going warp speed, man.
yeah, it's true. As
Like,
it is that outside looking in, like you watch him ride and he's silky smooth and that, but yeah,
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
at
but
a ridiculous pace.
yeah, and he's like moving in practice, like he doesn't dick around. Um, he kind of like, yeah, just a lot of, he likes different lines, like trying to find lines, obviously, like they all do. But finding lines generally means like losing a crank or a pedal or a derailleur or a wheel
Finding a hidden stump.
or all of the above all at once. So yeah, I mean he's consistent though, man. Like I certainly won't complain. He wasn't like brutal on his stuff. Um,
What
I
was
worked
the component he would burn through the quickest?
chain guides for sure.
Right.
Chain guides and chain rings, man. Like it's like the dude was just a magnet to logs. You know, it's like crazy.
I didn't know that was still a thing that happened. That was like a late 2000s issue when everyone was just
Yeah,
destroying chain rings all the time.
yeah, yeah. And I think it isn't as much of an issue, but like bikes, man, longer, lower, slacker.
Mm,
Like what's hanging down?
yeah.
It's the same shit as it was back then. So it's just, I guess, like everything's a little bit stronger now.
Mm,
You don't have like these, you know, like you don't have like bottom bracket mounted ISCG tabs anymore,
tearing them
or
off
like
frames.
yeah, you're like your E13 SRS that's actually just in your BSA thread, like that just
Yeah.
rotates and goes up into your chain stay and blows
Oh, man.
everything up. While it's good.
What a time.
So, oh, good times, dude. Good
We call those
times.
the good old days, I think.
They were the dream days, just snapping howitzer BBs and yeah,
Yeah.
living the dream. Oh
Oh,
man,
man.
but nah. So he was tough on his stuff, but I kind of prided myself on everything being perfect. So I guess like I'm a big preventative maintenance dude. So if I see something and I'm like, it's probably not ideal, it comes off.
Yeah.
Like down to like, I don't know, like I don't think it's a secret. The stuff's been out for ages. The 7-speed SRAM stuff, like the push, like the guide pins on them move sometimes, and it just throws off the shifting like a whisker. But like if the guide pin was moved even a mil, it was like that's off. It's done.
Yeah.
Like it's over. You take it off and you'll put it on a bike that the team would utilize somewhere else. Like race bikes, like I remember someone telling me, I think it was Nigel Reeve, was like every run at a World Cup costs the team money, right? So if the team has spent, let's just throw a random number out there, like if the team spent 100 grand on getting the truck, the athlete, the mechanic, the manager, all of it to the event, right? It costs, say you get 8 runs on a practice day, 2 runs on a quali day. I'm just going to do it easily. You get 6
Yeah,
runs on a
10
practice
runs.
day, 2 runs on a quali day, and 2 runs on a race day, right? So you got 10 runs.
Mm,
It's 10 grand a run if
yeah,
you think about it that way. So like, you can't mess it up.
yeah. No,
And
that's a good point.
yeah, and I mean, you can take it however you want it. Like people might think about that and be like, "Oh, Aaron, you're a dickhead." Like whatever. It's only like it's just bike racing. But for me, the way I saw it is, I'm like, people are spending good money to have us at this event, right? It needs to be perfect.
Mm.
So you pride yourself on if it's a $130 derailleur, I'm going to swap it out. You
It's
know,
nothing in the grand scheme of
yeah,
it.
it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. It's nothing, and it will
And
get utilized. Like it
yeah,
will get utilized. We were never being wasteful. Um, I'm a huge advocate in not wasting stuff. So if you could utilize it in another aspect, like on a training bike or whatever, you definitely would.
give it to one of the poor privateers riding past.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And that's, I was never supposed to, but man, like if especially Australians, Kiwis,
Mm,
all the guys from this
yeah.
side of the pond, we, yeah, I'd give tires, rims, I gave wheels out. I would
This
keep
is
that on
why
the down low.
every young guy and girl that I've talked to that's like going over there and they're like, oh, what should I know? And I'm like, get to know anyone and everyone in the pits that you can, because there might be a time
Yeah,
when you are searching for something and that one person that you've been nice to, they'll have something sitting in the back of the truck that they'll hook you
yeah,
up with.
100%, dude. And the thing is like for me it was nothing, but for them it was everything.
Yeah.
And like, you know, these people are spending their life savings to go race their bike. And I'm like, I get that, man. Like that is passion.
Mm.
That's a love for what they do, and how awesome's that, you know?
And it could be the
So
difference
like,
between them racing or not that weekend.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And that's the thing. And you're like, cool, man. If this is going to get you another practice run, go. Like,
yeah.
take it. I couldn't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I've got another 10 of these in the truck, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know my sponsors and like the team sponsors and staff and stuff probably won't be happy with hearing that, but I don't really care anymore, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Statute of limitations is passed.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, but obviously you'd hook them up, and then they were
Yeah.
if they were a good kid, they'd come past and they'd bring you a beer later on, and I'd be like, sick, man, that's awesome. Like
That's the other
that's all
thing I
I
always
need.
said. I was like, if anyone help you out, go and buy them a block of chocolate or buy them some beers or
Yeah,
something, because it
yeah,
goes
dude,
such a
that's
long
all
way.
it takes. It goes such a long way, and yeah, like to anyone listening, if you're a privateer at a World Cup or an IXS or whatever you're doing, and you do get a part from someone, like they'll get grouchy. They don't do it for things, but like I don't know. If I gave something to someone, I'd be like, "Hey, man, they better bring me like a chocolate bar or something for that." Like
Yeah. It doesn't have to be
like
much.
anything, or no, or even a high five later on. Like come
Yeah.
past, Knuckles, thanks, dude. That saved my week, and you're like,
Mm.
yeah, sick. That's all it
Yeah.
takes is a thank you.
All you need, eh?
Um, yeah, please, a thank you. Manners goes a long way.
Big time.
Manners actually goes a long way. Someone comes up to me and
Yeah.
goes like, "Hey, give me this." You go like, "Yeah, nah,
No, not a chance.
yeah."
Um, what was the usual turnaround time on like Troy's race bikes? How many races would you be getting out of them? And I guess that probably depends a bit because things have changed with like custom colors and certain colors and that sort of thing that would have to be used or whatever. But what would your average kind of race
Yeah.
bike get out of
So like for us, we would generally get like you can get a full season out of a frame,
it? Mm.
100%. So like last year with the prototype, the Sender that's just come out, that frame we used the entire year,
Oh, that's
because
good.
we didn't have to change colors.
Yeah.
So literally the only reason we would change frame is to change a color.
Yeah. I think we're past the days of bikes breaking constantly, which is a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, which is awesome, right? Like, unless, if the dude tomahawked into a rock garden at 60 k's an hour and the top tube landed on a rock, yeah. You'd have
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you can get so long out of them now. Like back on the first sender, I don't think anybody would mind me saying, like, we did go through a few.
Yeah.
We had issues with bumpers pushing into the frame.
Were
So
they
if you did like
alloy
a
at that
big,
point?
nah, they were carbon front end
Okay.
alloy rear.
That's right.
So if you did a big tank slapper, you'd push the bumper into the frame. That was it. Like
Yeah.
structurally, they were amazing, but yeah, we went through a few front triangles because of that. But yeah, like nowadays, man, like the bearings, you push them in, pull them out, you know, fresh kit every weekend, and it was mint. And you didn't even need to do that. That's just like full tweak a mechanic at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you don't need to do it. That's just like, you know, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance is, you know, kind of my motto.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, you just prepare properly and shit ain't going to go haywire, right? So well, you hope it's not going to go haywire. It probably still
Yeah.
will, but
Yeah.
you control as much as you can.
Yeah.
With
It's
racing.
that preventative maintenance type thing coming back again. It's like, if you know everything's mint.
It is. Yeah. Preventative maintenance is key. That's for sure.
Was there any pet peeves of working with Troy? You know, that he would bug you
Peeves.
on, or things that he broke that you're
No,
like, why do you keep breaking this? Or
no, honestly, like he's always pretty good, eh? Like we definitely have our arguments.
yeah, fair.
And he's a tweaker. Like he knows if things are out by a millimeter. But I guess like for me, I liked that because I'm precise. Like
Yeah.
I hate it when people are like, "Oh, just throw it on there and she'd be right, mate." I'm like, no, it's not right. Like that cable's like 10 mil too long, man. You got to cut it. Like and that's me. And
Yeah.
and I think like that's why we worked so well together for that amount of time. Like even last year, like when we split up, you could call it. You know, we've had a bit of a divorce. Now when we split, like we still weren't button heads over anything. It
Yeah.
was definitely like an amicable thing. But no pet peeves, no tweakerisms, no nothing. Like
I
we
mean,
were
clearly
both,
it worked because you had 10 years together.
yeah, and we probably would have done more if
Yeah.
you know, if things had lined up. So, maybe in another life we'll see.
I got two more Canyon questions for you. First one was
Yeah.
how hard can Fabian still rip on a downhill bike?
Oh, he's all right. Yeah, he's all right.
Has he lost a bit of
I
his
guess.
speed, has he?
For an old guy, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He rips. He does rip. It kind of shits me, to be honest. But ask him how far he can wheelie. That'd be your question for him if you ever get a chance to talk. Yeah, because he can't. Fun fact: multi-time world champion can't wheelie a bicycle.
Just like Elliot Jackson, also can't
Dude,
wheelie.
he's shit. Yeah, but Elliot's like at least got the full factor to it, you know. Like
Uh,
Elliot, are a small guy, whereas Fab's just not.
That's funny.
No, I shouldn't talk shit on him. He can rip. Fab and I had a lot of fun working
Yeah.
together. We butted heads a lot, man. Like a lot.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, he's a pig-headed Frenchman and I'm a pig-headed
Yeah.
Australian. Like we just like, dude, cultures clash. Like, come on.
Big
It
time.
was good though. Like he's a very smart individual. I'll never take that away from him.
Yeah.
But like, I like to think I am a little bit as well. And if we had different ideas on something, like it could get heated. So it was kind of fun though. I guess I enjoy a little bit of
Yeah.
a little bit of clash. So I enjoyed it, and I could just see his head just getting on fire. So yeah, good time.
Is that why he's got no hair anymore? Is it from working with
Yeah,
you?
dude, for sure. He lost it all when he met me. 100%.
He's a legend. like barely knew him when I was racing, and then it was like 2015, 2016. He turned up to Crankworks in Rotorua on that first sender that he was like had just come out, or it was even a prototype still,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah,
just
it would
saw
have
me
been a
on the side of the
prototype.
track, and he's like, "Oh man, I didn't know you were still racing." We rode together the whole weekend. I was like, "This dude's fucking rad! Like,
Sick.
he's a legend."
Yeah, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He
And then the
drives
other
up the
one,
wall with him, but he's all right.
the other one was your best Gabe Fox story that you can tell.
Oh, dude, there's so many,
Yeah,
but
well,
there's
that's what I
one.
thought. I should have. Oh, good.
Oh, like I love Gabe to bits. We had so many good times. Like, shit, just like 8 years of just laughs. But I'll never forget. We're in a gas station in Italy, right? And for those that have been to Italy, they know that gas station coffee in Italy is actually like quite good, generally. So like it's like a good like you go buy a good latte at the shops here. It's similar and it's cheap, like €2, like sick, man. Like living the dream. And we're on this drive through Italy, and Gaber's just being Gaber's, just got his cappuccino and just took this massive pull of it, and it was super hot, like crazy hot. And he just put it in his mouth, and you could see his face just go like bright red. And then he just spat it all over the table, like a
Oh
full
man.
full mouthful of cappuccino, just all over the table. And like it was summer holidays in Europe, so like the gas station's packed, and everyone in the gas station's just looking at him like, what the fuck is going on
Was
here?
he losing his shit at this point as well? Because I could just
And he
imagine,
was
like,
losing it, like dancing, like just like blowing, like, oh, it's so hot. It was, yeah, it was super funny, man. But yeah, I got a lot of Gabe stories. Like we had a lot of fun times. A lot of them I can't say on here, but
yeah, that's what I said. You know, one
yeah.
that's safe for air.
Oh, yeah, that one's safe for air. Yeah, a lot of loose Gabe stories. We drank a lot of red wine over our years. Yeah, man, that was just
uh,
classic. Like,
yeah,
holy smokes! But yeah, he's a
that's
good
good.
good egg Davis for sure.
So
Ah,
in between races, like I mean, you said before, you know, your off season was testing and that, but like say mid Europe when there's a 2-3 week break or whatever, did you have like a go to spot you'd head to, or you know, like a
yeah,
base, or
it kind of depended. We had like our team was obviously based in the south of France, so Nice. So generally we'd head back there and just hang out there a little bit. San Remo in Italy, we hung out quite a lot. And then we spent a lot of time in Leger, so Morzine area.
yeah, yeah, good spot.
Um, yeah, shout out to Satellite Coffee, just keeping me alive there for a while. So yeah, we'd go there and just ride bikes and chill.
So you'd get to ride quite a bit still, like in that
Yeah,
downtime.
I was sort of up until 2019, 2020. Um, Honestly, man, for me, like what killed travel was COVID.
Yeah.
Because we weren't able to come home.
Mm,
Like being away for that amount of time, and like I had a lot of personal shit going on at home at that point in time as well. So it was very difficult balancing my home life with my race life, and that kind of put the nail in the coffin. Probably then, like 2020 was probably I probably should have called it a day then, to be honest, but didn't. Kept going, kept
ground it out a
fighting the good
few more
fight.
years.
Yeah, he just cranked me out. But I was just flying home a lot in those last 2 years.
Right.
Like any opportunity I had, I would fly back to Oz.
Yeah.
I think I was home. The shortest trip home was like 3 days. I think I was in a
Holy
plane
shit,
more
that's
than I was
dedication.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's just life, hey. Like,
Mm,
like my daughter was born. I just wanted to be home.
yeah.
So,
I get it.
I wanted to see her. I wanted to see my wife. I wanted to come see my dog. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just basic shit that you don't think of. Like, you've got a house, you've got to clean the gutters, you've got to, do all that sort of stuff as well. Like that sort of stuff doesn't stop just because you're on racing. And unfortunately, I'm not
Yeah.
on like, well, I wasn't on like Red Bull Racing F1 salary mechanic. So I couldn't afford to
Yeah,
like
that'd
pay
be nice.
someone to come and do all that sort of stuff, and like couldn't just fly my family over to Europe or anything like that. Like it just didn't fly. So um, yeah, so I was just coming home a lot. But prior to that, for sure, like we just end up in Morzine and I just ride every day.
Yeah.
So that was at the point where I was quite fit and strong and fast, and having a lot of fun. So yeah, it was sick. Good fun.
Yeah, would have been good. So actually, I was going to ask you about those COVID, like 2020 especially. That was the weirdest season, and I kind of saw some bits from it the other day, and I'd forgotten just how weird that season actually was.
Mm.
Um, that had to be a tough season in quote marks, for how short it was, but like just that
Yeah.
whole weird travel period and the unknowns and
Yeah, it sucked, to be honest. I so like most Aussies and Kiwis, our flights got cancelled home. So we
yeah.
couldn't actually come home to start with. Like it was like you're not allowed back into the
Yeah, you
country.
got quite trapped for a while, eh? Because it
Yeah.
was like right at the start of the season or kind
Yeah.
of pre-season.
Yeah, it was pre-season, so we were over there for about 24 hours, I reckon, in France. And then they were like, oh, the borders are closing coming into Oz as of this date. So Troy and I were like, shit. And they'd just canceled, like, we'd landed and they'd cancelled the first World Cup. And Troy and I were like, oh, shit, like, what are we going to do? Spoke to our team manager or our team owner, Fabian Burrell, and we were like, what are we going to do? Like, this is just not going to work. And National Champs was on that weekend in Oz. And he's like, oh, can you still make nationals? And we were like, I mean, if we leave like tomorrow morning, yeah. So he got onto the travel agent and we flew from France, like we'd flown from Adelaide to France. We're there for 24 hours, flew from France to Melbourne, I think it was, and then drove from Melbourne to Bright. Landed in the day of practice. Troy did like 2 laps in practice and was like cooked. Like, and I was standing in the pits just like, I couldn't even see. Like,
Yeah.
I think I remember someone offered me a beer and I was like, yeah, all right, drunk it. And I was like smashed, like off of like a light ale, like just
Yeah.
absolutely hammered. Um, and then yeah, came in, did race and won, which was pretty cool. And then that was pretty epic actually. And then we were kind of home, like thinking about what to do, and we ended up. I'm just trying to think actually what happened. We ended up going over, but like knowing that we couldn't come home,
Right.
and we were kind of like, well, just hopefully the borders open. Like it is what it is. Like kind of got to go do our jobs. And we went over, did our jobs, did the racing, did this, did that, and Troy was getting married in November, and it was like end of October, and he got a flight home. Like his flight got cancelled, my flight got cancelled, so we flew to Canada, and he got a flight home the day after we got there, right? And I was like, oh, it's all good, like I'll get a flight home eventually.
Mm.
And I'd been there for like 2 weeks, and I still hadn't got a flight, and couldn't get a flight, and I was like, yeah, well, we'll see if when I actually make it home. Like I'd bought a car, I was there for the long haul. Like I was like,
Oh, that's wild.
yeah, like nobody knew when I could go home. The travel agent was like, dude, like the border's shut. Like there's no flights. And it was kind of getting to the point where we were like looking into private jets to get me home. Like it was pretty full on. Anyway, then ended up getting a flight home, like business. Like it was kind of nice to fly business with like 2 other
Yeah.
people on a massive aeroplane. But yeah, it was weird, like really weird. The travel was hard. And I honestly think that kind of killed it for me. Like it was just tiring, not knowing when you could get home. Um, yeah, like I said, like I had a lot of personal stuff happening at home that year that I kind of couldn't be there for. So you're talking to family members and stuff on the phone, but you're like,
Yeah.
you can't just give someone a hug, which I don't know, to people that don't travel, probably just like, oh, whatever, man. Like, that's, you just deal with it. But when it's your job, it kind of is a bit different to going on a holiday, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, you want to come home from work and you want to see your loved ones. And when you can't do that, it's kind of difficult. So, yeah, and it got more and more difficult as the years went on.
Yeah, I'm amazed. Like you say that, and you still managed to, kind of keep rolling after that, because that would have been a brutal period of travel over that point, or like just life.
Yeah, yeah, it was,
Uh,
and I won't sugarcoat it. It sucked, you know.
Yeah,
So it is what it is. It's done. Um, everyone, everyone's all right. So yeah,
mm.
it's all good now.
It's
Yeah,
funny. Like it kind of makes me think of all the times you always get the like you talk to someone who doesn't really know what you do or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, you must see so many amazing places," and you're like, "Well, most of the time you fly to an airport, you get in a van, you fall asleep, you drive to wherever you're going, you don't go anywhere else. It's like you're not like you're
yeah,
going there sightseeing either."
no, no. Like I say to people, like I've seen probably 15 of the nicest car parks in Europe. That's about it. So yeah, I spent 10 years of my life there and didn't really see much of it. So
Yeah,
that's yeah. It's down to personal choices though, man. You know,
yeah,
could have done a lot of other things with it, and I chose. You know, I wanted a family and I wanted a family life, and
yeah.
um, I enjoy that. I know a lot of the other boys don't. Good on them. You know, keep living the good
Each
life,
to their
but
own.
yeah, each to their own, man. Yeah. So yeah.
So you mentioned you've you've had a baby daughter, I think. Did you say?
Yep. Yep. Little
Yep.
girl.
So
Yeah.
how old's she now?
She's 2 years old, or nearly two
Uh,
in a month.
that's a cool
So
stage.
yeah, it's chaotic, man. She's fun. She's she's crazy, dude. Like
Yeah.
she's got my energy, which is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Um, loves bikes. You know, we're out on the e-bike like every day. Um, we're lucky where
That's
we
cool.
live. We can just rip across the road and go hit, hit the trails. And yeah, she has a lot of fun. So she's good. And then we've got another one coming in a couple of months. So my wife's
Oh,
deep in the trenches at
congratulations.
the moment
It
with
gets
that.
even more chaotic.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be a little boy. So we'll see. I
Nice.
might be back at the races eventually with the next junior girl and junior
Give it
boy.
15,
Just go.
16 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I better learn. I'll have to dust off the data analytic at that point and see if I remember how to tune some shit and go from there.
So
Oh
outside
god.
of that, what's the day job now?
I'm an apprentice electrician now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just completely different.
Yeah. Is that did you have
So it's
background in
kind
that
of
at all,
cool.
or was that just something you kinda
Uh yes and no. Like when I left school, I was actually an apprentice electrician, funnily enough.
Oh right.
So I left school, um, kind of like everyone was like, what am I going to do with my life? My mum was a hairdresser and spoke to one of her clients, and her client's husband was a Sparky and was like, come work for me. And I was like, all right, cool, no worries. Did it, hated it, like despised every moment of it. Um, yeah, funnily enough, and here I am. Uh, so that was like doing residential house stuff, light and power. Whereas the stuff that I'm doing now is like we do building management systems and like air conditioning and mechanical electrical. So, and I know most of the dudes that I work with through bike racing.
Ah, funny.
Um, yeah, funny that. So, yeah, so like, yeah, ev- pretty much everyone at my work races and rides bikes at like quite a high level as well. So like last year as well, um, Connor Fearon, like I said earlier on the podcast, he's an apprentice electrician as well. So I work with him. And then another dude like that's sponsored by Canyon Oz, Sam Walsh, he works with us as well.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like a lot of the other dudes are like very fast bike riders in Adelaide.
That's pretty cool
So
though.
yeah, yeah. So like another one of the dudes was number one in South Australia last year in the downhill, like elite. Like they're all fast. So we go for like it's funny. Like I said to him, we went for a work Christmas ride at the end of last year, and I was like, oh, I worked for bike companies for 10 years and we never went on a group ride. And here we are, like
Yeah.
all going on a group ride as a company of Sparkies. So yeah, it's quite cool, man. It's cool to learn something different as well. I don't know, like with bikes, I pretty much, apart from Nigel and Dave, I taught myself everything. Whereas with this now, like I'm back at school,
Yeah.
so like actually doing like exams and yeah, it's cool. Like, and at 32 years old, like I'm definitely the oldest in the room, but whatever, you know, it's it's interesting. You listen to the kids and you're like, you guys are so young.
Oh man, I
Like,
can only imagine. Like, I did an apprenticeship when I finished racing as well, and I mean, I was younger than you are now, but I'm like, I can only imagine the shit that you would be listening to,
oh,
and probably everyone
this
having to go
like,
have a vape every 10 minutes, and
oh, dude, it's mental. Oh, far out. Like, and to be honest with you, that where we are, like the school that Connor and I go to school on a Friday together every week, which is pretty sweet. Where the school actually is the socio demographic in that area. Wow, like it's full on, dude. Like, yeah, but it's cool. It's just eye opening, isn't it? So
I've
if
got
anybody's ever seen if anybody's ever seen the Big Les show, it's like that.
a. Oh, it'll be entertaining if nothing else, anyway.
It is. It's very entertaining. So yeah, it's good fun.
So it's the one thing I actually meant to bring up a little bit earlier, but um, I mean, finishing out your last race at Mont Saint Anne last year with Troy winning, man, that
Mm.
had to be such a nice bookend to your career on the tools. Like walking
Yeah,
out,
man.
mic
Like
drop, we
there
won the
was
last race.
there was some feels, eh? Like
I bet.
there was a lot of feels. I went to so I did the Monster Cup prior to St. Anne
Yeah,
in wherever it was, Killington, I think it
yeah,
was.
Killington, Vermont.
Yeah, so I'd done the Monster Cup in Killington the week before, and I'd had a few job interviews when I was in Killington, um, as to kind of what I was going to be doing with the rest of my life, basically, or my life for now, not the rest of my life. I'll be back in bikes at that point, I'm sure. They can't keep a good man down, I swear. But yeah, St. Anne was unreal. Like I kind of made my decision, and then the schedule for this year came out. And I looked at it and I was just like, I just can't swing it anymore, man. Like there's just
10 races this year too. It's a lot.
yeah, it's brutal and there's just big stints. And I just knew like personally that I couldn't do it anymore. My mental health just wouldn't have held up to it. So I called it. I went and saw Troy and I was just like, dude, this is it. Like this is the last one. Um yeah, so we had a sick weekend, like just cracked into it and
Yeah.
did what we do best. And yeah, like there was a lot of tears shed for me, man. Like, I'll be honest, I was emotional.
Oh, I
Um,
can imagine.
yeah, racing's been a big part of my life, and the people in racing as well are what made racing what it is for me. Um, I obviously love racing, but you get these personal relationships with other mechanics, photographers, with just industry people around, athletes. You have these relationships with, and they're all amazing people. Um, and you're lucky enough to call them your friends, and you're like, fuck, like I'm not going to see these people again.
Mm.
Like this
It
sucks.
is like a big
And
traveling family.
it is, yeah, it is, and it that's probably the most brutal part of it. And that, like this week, you're seeing photos of all your friends at the first World Cup, and I'm like, fuck, this sucks. But yeah, it is what it is.
Do you know?
Mont Saint Anne was
Do you know?
amazing. Like we
Sorry, I was going to say, do you
fire on.
know who Troy's mechanic is this year? Or like, do you know them personally? I'm not even sure who his mechanic is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So oh wow, Nathan Carr is his name. He worked on Specialized. He was Jordan Williams' mechanic.
Ah, okay.
So he was on S Gravity with Kev and Jack. So he was
Yeah.
working with two very high level mechanics, and I believe that he is quite a good mechanic as well. I hope he is. I
No,
wish
like
him all the best.
ex-girlfriend kind of vibe feels from you. You're sort of like bitch
Dude,
moving in,
like
like
we did like national champs in March in Mount Buller. I was like, I have done a little bit of contract work for SRAM
oh yeah,
since
nice.
ending things with Canyon. So I was tech at Mount Buller for SRAM, and Nath was there with Troy. And there's no bad blood, man.
Nah, I was
Like
only
like I
joking there.
yeah, like Troy and I sat because we actually spoke about it. Like Troy and I were like, "Is this going to be weird?" Like, and I was like, "Dude, as far as I'm concerned, like I quit um,
Yeah,
for no bad reasons. You know, I was just tired and over it, and you know that. Like, I still love you. We're still really good friends. Um, yeah, so it's all good in my books. It's all good in his books, and hopefully Nathan can tighten the bolts and get everything millimeter perfect. That's all that matters. So
nice.
yeah,
That's what he's
but
going to need by
all
the
good.
sounds of it.
Yeah, Troy's a tweaker, but he's a beautiful tweaker, so it's all good. Yeah, and he's a fast tweaker.
um,
If he was coming
yeah,
like
he
50
is.
and he was that tweaky, you'd just be like, dude, go away. But
Yeah, get out of
he
here.
deserves all the love and attention. So
I've got a few
yeah.
little 2025 questions for you.
Yep.
What do you think of the protection rule being taken away?
I think it is good. Yeah.
That seems to be the
For a
general
variety.
consensus.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it was always very handy having it for like a high
Yeah.
level athlete for sure. But I think it's good. It just evens the playing field out again.
Mm,
Yeah, no one's got any special treatment. Just
yeah.
pure raw racing, isn't it?
Uh, Thoughts on tuned mass dampers? That seems to be the hot ticket of 2025.
I don't know, to be honest. Is it a fad? We'll see. Time will tell.
Did you guys ever? Did you guys ever put those little stickers on that were like supposedly like anti-vibration
No,
stickers?
that was
Remember that
such
shit that went
bullshit.
around?
That was bullshit. And I don't know, like
uh,
maybe the mass damper's the same. Who knows? Um, I don't know. I always try not to fall into fads personally, but
yeah.
everyone's different. Um,
Uh,
Troy's got a two mass damper on his bike now. I know that. So,
yeah.
and I think probably 99% of them do now. So
Yeah.
it's so
Looks like
funny,
it.
man. It goes in ebbs and flows. Hey, like, oh, we want it lightweight. We want it this. We want it that. We want lightweight, 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 lightweight. Let's put 250 grams in the bottom bracket,
Everyone's
100
strapping lead
grams
onto their bikes.
the handlebars. And you're like, dude, what do you actually want?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Good luck to him, eh? Someone's making money, so cool.
uh, um, Outside of you picking Troy to win, which is probably obviously what you'd say if I said who's going to win this weekend,
Mhm.
you can't pick Troy. Give me a prediction of a male and a female winner.
Amory Piron, I reckon, for the dub. And you know what? I'm going to go Marine Caribou.
Hmm?
Mm.
Can't knock that call.
Yeah, and I say Marine because she's got a sick bike, to be honest.
Join the Canyon
Like
team this year, obviously.
she's joined a good team, good vibes, good people, sick bike. Like,
Yeah.
and she won there last year.
Mm. She's
So
always been fast as well. So
yeah,
if
she's
everything's
fast, she's
running
fit.
good,
Like, if everything clicks for her, I reckon she'll be on for it.
yeah,
And then I say Amory because I know he's going to come out swinging this year.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, dude, there's going to be like it'll be interesting to see how like Jackson Goldstone goes
yeah.
because now that
It's
he's
kind
had
of
a
the
proper UG,
yeah,
like it. You know, Troy was like faster than all the elite dudes in junior before he had a massive off, and then he like did his spleen, and then you kind of like, I mean, you probably know how it is, and most mountain bikers do. Like, you have a hugie, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, my body actually matters.
Yeah, I'm not bulletproof.
Yeah, I'm not bulletproof, and if I want to keep racing, then I've got to stay in one piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon Marine and Amory, two Frenchies on
Nice.
the Polish soil, man.
Yeah. It's hard
Who
to.
do you reckon?
Well, I mean, the person I'm really excited to see start the season is Lockie Stevens McNabb. I mean,
Yeah,
he was going so good at Poland last year, and he's been on fire here to start the season. So I'm really
yeah,
excited to see how he kicks the season off. But I, if I've got to put someone in there, I think I'm going to pick Jackson. I think he will
yeah,
just be wanting to come out swinging after a whole
yeah. He
season
will.
off.
He will for sure.
I'm
For
also a
sure.
Santa Cruz guy, so I'm
Yeah.
heavily,
Okay.
heavily
There you
biased.
go. There you go. Biased. It'll be
uh,
interesting though, man, because like, the way I see it is like with racing, you've the young lads maybe have learnt now because they've been in it for a little bit, right? Like Lockie's done a year in elite, Jackson's binned himself. They might understand that the overall is the long game.
yeah,
So coming fourth is better than detonating yourself.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So they need to learn that like too fast versus fast enough limit.
Do you know who I
So
might actually throw a wild card out there? And it's not even elite. I might put Ace of Ameda in there for the fastest time of the day because he's still young. He's clearly absolutely rapid and is riding
yeah,
really well.
yeah, I could see it. I could see it for sure.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
obviously, you still got those
You reckon
weird
if,
kind of
you reckon if Belt
variances
Drive's going to
between
win
when
this
they're
year?
racing. Yeah, that was actually a question we did on our last podcast. And the kind of general consensus was that we thought that Hattie Harnden might be the first winner.
I reckon Hattie will win one of the first two World Cups.
She just won the EDR, and she's
Yeah,
yeah. So could
yeah.
be cool.
Dude, she's in.
Yeah,
Like you see
nah,
the US results and you're like, okay, she's going.
yeah.
I think it was US.
Nah, it'll be good.
Where was
And
yeah,
it's
it
gonna
was
be.
US, wasn't it? Yeah.
I'm really excited for this season.
Yeah, me too.
There's a
I'm
lot of
excited to
unknowns.
watch it.
Right, I've got a few quick. We're going to go rapid fire on these ones to wrap it up. A few quick fire questions. Favorite track on the circuit from when you, whatever over your time.
Val de Sol.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst track to work at, whether it's logistically
Fort
or.
William.
Yep.
Fort William.
Kiddles.
I hate it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Who would win a mechanics race?
Me.
Good. I love it. I love the fact you've just owned that one.
Nah.
Yeah.
Actually, who would win it? Oh, good question. Probably current crop of mechanics, probably Bernie's mechanic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's some good.
Yeah, maybe. Nah, dude, that's a hard question. Because, like,
Yeah, well, I don't know
so
a lot of history
I
of
don't know.
him, so.
Do you know who Jeff Hunter is?
No. No, name's not familiar.
No, so Jeff was Mark Wallace's mechanic on Canyon. He
Okay.
worked on Da Vinci, and now he's working on Norco. He's like their data analytic dude on Norco. Dude, he is rapid. Like one of the most quiet individuals you ever meet, and you'd meet him and you'd be like, "Oh, this guy just likes bikes, like he's slow as." And I remember riding with him, and I was just like, "He's like gone, like holy shit, I got to turn on here." Yeah, he's pinned. There's a few of them that are fast though. Like,
Few sly
yeah,
dogs.
yeah, there's a few sly dogs for sure, for sure.
Which mechanic could send it the hardest at an after party?
Oh, Like on the D floor?
Oh, can be whatever the
Or
sending
just in
could be. It
general?
could be the Jaeger bombs. It could be the D floor.
Oh, dude, nah, Ben Lovell. Oh, Ben Lovell for sure. The Ben. So
I can see it.
Ben Squared. Oh man, like
Oh
those
yeah,
dudes. Holy shit,
yeah.
unreal. Yeah, we
So
had a lot of fun times.
so the other half of the Ben squared lives, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes from me. So he's
Oh,
another dude I've got to get on the podcast. We live super close, but we're
if
just
he's
useless.
listening, if he's listening right now, I love you. You're a good
Uh,
man. Like, I miss you.
he's a legend. uh, um, most underrated tool in the toolbox.
Hammer.
You can fix anything. No, that's good. That's awesome. I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We'll leave it with that sage piece of advice. Always keep a hammer on you.
Yeah, perfect. They fix anything. Yeah, any problem. Is hit a
Uh,
hammer.
no, that's been a fantastic chat. Thanks for joining, Aaron. It's been really good.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
The time has flown by super easily. It's good when you've got plenty of yarns like you do, though.
Yeah, it's handy. I talk a lot, so yeah.
That's great.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh, that's awesome. We'll find a place to slot this in and get it out there. Well, everyone will be listening to it by now, but hopefully we can get it out in the next week or so. But yeah, thanks
Unreal.
again, mate.
Enjoy. Thanks, dude. Cheers for having me.
I'm ready. What's up? I come from the land of down I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, rock like I'm supposed to. B-L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.